I just want to say that at least we've had the minerals to win the league 5 times in my lifetime. Come back to me in Newcastle, ever win the league in my lifetime. All right?
You've got to say though, Piers. I mean, I'm all for a manager, sticking up for his team, and I don't mind it at all. But a wee bit over the top, no?
Do you know what? He was obviously extremely angry, and I understand why. I like Arteta's passion. I mean, it's clear that if you watch that Amazon documentary about Arsenal, he's got a very fiery side to him. And I don't mind that. I remember Alex Ferguson blowing up. I got to say, I thought I could have probably done without the Arsenal club endorsing it in an official statement, which seemed a little bit over the top to me. But I thought Arteta's passionate reaction was completely understandable. Look, has there ever been a case? I mean, I hate VAR with a rare enthusiasm, right?
Yeah.
I think it is one of the worst things I've ever seen in sport because it sucked all the joy out of watching football. Every single great goal now, we all have to wait 5 minutes to see if it counts or not, and then someone's nostril might mean it doesn't. And on this case, has there ever been a situation where 3 different times VAR should have said this was not a goal? Probably 4, if you include the handball that we later established probably happened. The ball clearly went out. The foul was clearly a foul. Linton put both hands, rammed on the back of Gable and knocks him over. Clearly it was offside. Clearly you can see a handball as well. 4 different reasons.
Piers, I'll give it to you. I might give you.
None of them get given because VAR is such a stupid system that none of it gets given.
Right, Piers, I'm going to say to you, I agree with your verdict on VAR. It's driving me crazy. However, I think the key words are clear and obvious, right? Now, I don't think any of them, and I genuinely believe it, I don't think any of them are clear and obvious. If you put me in a corner,
do not believe that.
I think it was I do think it was a foul. I think it was a shove, right?
But nobody can watch that. So immediately you disagree with yourself. Right? So clearly it was a foul. Everybody knows it was a foul.
It was a foul. I thought so.
From the still photograph we've seen, that ball is about 6 inches out of play. Right? Clearly he's offside, but apparently VAR doesn't have the technology now to tell us whether a ball has gone out or whether there's been a blatant foul or whether there's a clear offside or whether it's a clear handball. To which my answer would be, what's the point of VAR?
Yeah.
It sucks all the joy out of us and then can't make 4 decisions on one incident.
Piers, but don't you think that Arteta should just take it on the chin and look, almost ironically laugh it off a little bit in the press conference afterwards? Don't get me talking about VAR, we'll be here all night, blah blah blah, that sort of stuff. Because I mean, look, Havertz could have got a red card.
Yes.
He could have done, couldn't he?
Yeah,
quite easily have got sent off.
I mean, look, I would add that and Bruno Guimaraes, right?
Yeah.
He should not have been on the pitch either. He got a clear elbow in the face. And my question about VAR is, it's supposed to remove human error. The problem is you've got humans still making a series of catastrophic errors.
Yeah.
How anyone can watch Guimaraes elbow someone in the head in the way that he did and then calmly watch that back 4 times and decide, you know what, I think that's fine.
Yeah,
How
I
anyone
agree.
can watch Havertz in slow motion. He went in, foot up. I've got no defence for what Havertz did. I thought it was a wild, reckless and clearly dangerous tackle. But they decided, the humans watching it back, it wasn't dangerous. Well, that says to me the whole system is flawed. And my question about the system is we clearly don't have good enough people, human beings, operating in the VAR setup. And why can't we get to the level of, say, international rugby, where everything is done in public, you hear everything as it's being deliberated, and they make pretty much 99% of the decisions appear to be correct, right?
Yeah.
We seem to be the opposite.
Very true.
Nobody's really sure what's going on. We don't hear the deliberations, and then we end up with this farce yesterday. So, look, it's not the first time this season or in recent seasons with Arteta at Arsenal that we have been the victims of VAR. We've been the beneficiaries of it too, but I never feel comfortable about that when I see VAR doing a catastrophic error in our favour. It's still, if you've had to wait 5 minutes again and your life just disappears. And then what kills me is when you have a wonder goal and it's some tiny indiscretion, a nipple is out of place or something, and it all gets and the goal of the season becomes not a goal. And then you have this farce yesterday where you've got 4 different blatant reasons to disallow something, and none of them get given because human beings can't see with their own eyes.
Yeah. That aside, That aside, Piers, what about the performance?
Yes.
What did you think of the way Arsenal played?
Performance wasn't good enough.
That reminds me of someone who said to Abraham Lincoln's widow after the assassination, yeah, but about that, what about the play? Okay, here's what I think about it all. I think also that, rather like Alex Ferguson used to do, I think Mikel Arteta, part of him blowing up in the way he did will have been to hide the deficiencies of our performance. And I'm afraid, and I don't like to keep saying this, because every time I come on your show, I sound like a broken record, but Arsenal's lack of a world-class striker has never been more glaring than yesterday. We had one shot on target in the entire game, right? And I like Gabriel Jesus. He's obviously injured again. I like Eddie Nketiah, but Nketiah seems to be someone who can score a brilliant hat-trick like last week against lesser opposition, but kind of disappears in the big games, which suggests to me he's just not quite ready yet for that level. And we are absolutely screaming out for a proper striker. And I think we've got to go in the transfer market in January, and I would go and get Ivan Toney and stick him up front, because we get great service, but we got nobody finishing it. I also think that Newcastle, to their credit, extremely well-organised team.
Yeah.
They managed to nullify Martinelli and Saka, who barely got a kick all game. And I thought that, look, I would single out again, I thought Declan Rice was brilliant. I thought Saliba was great. I still don't get the Raya thing in goal. On the goal that should never have been allowed, he made yet another cock-up. If you're Aaron Ramsdale watching this week after week, is Raya showing anybody that he's an upgrade from Ramsdale? I don't think he is.
Nor do I.
Right? And I think, unfortunately, all the pressure, which was created entirely by Arteta, right? He said, I'm going to have two number ones. Well, nobody ever believed that when he said it. It's clear he thinks Raya is his number one. I don't think most Arsenal fans look at this situation and feel confident in our goalkeeper. So he's managed to destabilise the goalkeeper situation. He hasn't bought a world-class striker. And I think, these are big question marks on Arteta. If he really looked at last season when we choked the title and thought, how do we go and win the title? Getting Declan Rice, brilliant. But he didn't get a striker, and he's cocked up the goalkeeper thing. And I think these are two issues that he's got to reconcile. Personally, I would now bring back Ramsdale with a point to prove. I think he's a better goalkeeper. I don't care what fancy footwork Raya does. If he can't stop goals, and yesterday was another howler, then I'm afraid you shouldn't be in goal. The primary function of a goalkeeper is to stop goals being scored, not to go and play like Zinedine Zidane. So I feel strongly about that, and we've got to get a striker. And if we don't, we are not going to win the league.
Piers, just a quick one. Supposed to go back top tonight?
Who?
Thanks very much, Piers. Appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
The very worst thing about Tottenham is that when they had managers that you could love to hate, it was fine. Right?
Oh, I know, mate.
Conte, Mourinho, all these guys, right? It was fine. But now they've got a manager that even I like, right? And I watch his press conferences. He makes me laugh. He's got a great sort of attitude to it all. And so it's like the worst scenario possible, where when Harry Kane left, you think, great, they've lost one of the best strikers in the world. Obviously, they're going to get relegated. And then to our utter horror, they now seem to be playing better as a team, and they've got a manager who actually knows what he's doing. It's a nightmare.
Listen, Piers, welcome to the Scottish football fans' life. That's exactly how we're feeling right now with the English lads, with Bellingham and Rice and Grealish and all those boys. The exact same, mate. Thanks very much for joining us. You have a good day. Spurs versus Chelsea, of course, live on talkSPORT. And don't miss Piers tonight on Uncensored. Back tonight, that's from 8 p.m. on Talk TV. Watching Sky 522, Virgin 606, Freeview 237, or indeed download the Talk TV app.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.